The sun hovered low over the Texas plains, staining the dry grass in shades of rust and gold. Dust swirled behind Anthony Redd's old pickup as he drove the last half-mile of dirt road to his ranch. To anyone else, it was just another patch of scrubland on the edge of a sleepy HO-controlled development. But to Anthony, it was the promise of peace for 20 years. He had served in the army, carried his country's weight on his back, and dreamed of this exact stillness, the sound of cicadas instead of sirens, the smell of hay instead of exhaust fumes. When he first bought the place, locals had laughed. "That land's no good," they said. "You'll be boxed in by the HOO sooner or later." But Anthony just smiled. The kind of slow, unbothered smile that made people stop arguing. He rebuilt the barn by hand, fixed the fences, and planted mesquite trees along the northern line. Every evening, when the sky turned the color of old copper, he'd lean on the railing and think, "This is mine." Finally, something that's mine. Then came the new HO president. Charles Bentley, a man who wore pressed khakis like a uniform and believed order was a moral duty. He didn't like the look of Anthony's weathered barn or the rusty pickup that sometimes rattled past the manicured lawns of the subdivision. He said it lowered the aesthetic value of the neighborhood. What really bothered Bentley was that Anthony's ranch sat at the end of the only access road to the entire development. Technically, the dirt path belonged to Anthony's property line. For years, the HOA had used it freely under a handshake deal with the previous owner. When Anthony bought the land, he ended that deal. At first, Bentley tried to play nice. He sent letters full of polite threats, offering to formalize the road usage. Anthony didn't reply. Then came HOA meetings filled with grumbling residents. Finally, one summer morning, Bentley acted. Without warning, he had contractors install a 6-foot-high metal fence right across the property boundary, cutting off Anthony's easy access to the main road. They locked it with a heavy steel chain and a brand new padlock. Anthony found out when he came back from town with a trailer full of feed and couldn't drive in. The dust hadn't even settled before his blood boiled. He parked, walked up to the gate, and stared at the silver chain gleaming in the sunlight. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he took a slow breath, turned around, and drove away. That night, the neighbors whispered that he'd cave. "He'll have to negotiate now," Bentley told the HOA board. "He's got no other way in or out." They laughed over iced tea while Anthony sat on his porch, watching the moon rise. Inside, a photo of his father hung on the wall, his father who once lost a farm to a crooked lender. Anthony remembered his voice. "Never fight anger with anger, son. Just own the ground they're standing on." The next morning, Anthony put on his cleanest shirt, drove into town, and visited the county office. "I'd like to see the records for the Ridgewood HOO subdivision," he said. The clerk printed the maps, and that's when he noticed something interesting. The narrow strip of land, where the HOA's main road connected to the county highway, was actually a separate parcel foreclosed and scheduled for auction. Next month, he smiled. 3 weeks later, while the HOA discussed landscaping budgets, Anthony Redd became the legal owner of that small, crucial strip of land, the only road connecting Ridgewood to the rest of the world. The following Monday, he stood by the locked fence and waited. HOA trucks rolled up, then stopped, confused by new signs reading private property, no access. Bentley showed up, red-faced. "What's the meaning of this, Red?" Anthony tipped his hat. "Thought you liked fences, Charles?" "I just figured I'd add one more." "This road belongs to the HOO." Anthony held up a folder with fresh county seals. "Actually, I can. I bought it. Every inch." Bentley had no words. Within days, chaos hit Ridgewood. Deliveries stalled. Residents parked by the highway and walked half a mile home. Someone tried cutting Anthony's lock, but motion cameras caught it all. Anthony didn't raise his voice. He simply started charging an access fee for anyone wanting a key. The story spread. Veteran outwits HOA and land dispute. Reporters came. "I just believe in fairness," he told them. "You build fences to keep people out. Don't be surprised when they keep you in." But pride runs deep. Bentley launched a new campaign to pressure Anthony into selling the road. Flyers, rumors, even fake posts online. Anthony ignored it until tire tracks appeared near his barn. Cameras showed two masked men and HOA maintenance gear snooping around. That was it. He called the sheriff. Within a week, both men were exposed as part-timers hired under Bentley's direction. The scandal hit the papers. HOA president linked to trespassing incident. Residents demanded Bentley resign. Anthony stayed calm. He fed his horses, waved to kind neighbors, and realized his ranch wasn't just refuge. It was a statement. You can't box in a man who owns his ground. Autumn came. And a new president, Maria Delgado, visited. "We'd like to make peace," she said. Anthony nodded. "Peace sounds fine, but I keep the key." "Fair enough," she smiled. The gate that once symbolized division became a quiet, truce line proof of how far a man will go to protect what's his.